Short term, it's
My shirt, hey guys, I need it.
no, not right now.
Welcome to True Parenting. You know how in true crime documentaries they're always doing dramatic reenactments of things that happen in real life? Well, these are dramatic reenactments of parenting conversations that Alicia has had with our children. We have changed the names of our children. I am playing them to protect them, not put them out on the internet so much, but doing so with their blessing and consent and enthusiasm. The purpose is not to mock our children, even though I'm having fun in the role. The idea is that you can see what parenting based on agency and unconditional love looks like. Hope that you enjoy.
Okay, Bryson, what are we talking about? Recap for me.
Can you recap for me?
No, it's not my life lesson that I need to learn.
Trustworthiness and changing.
Okay, what about it?
It's harder to change in the short term, easier in the long term.
Short term, it's
My shirt, hey guys, I need it.
no, not right now.
Okay.
Will you please go out and shut the door? Okay, so you were just talking about short-term change.
It's harder to change. Long term, it's easier because you can learn from your mistakes.
Okay, let's look down the road, right? If we just keep doing the easy thing, like in this case, creating habits that really aren't supporting us, it'll make your life harder in the long term, right? So either way, you have to face the consequences of your choices. Are consequences a bad thing?
No.
No. What are consequences?
Something that happens after?
Yeah, what comes after you make a choice. So currently, what are the consequences that you're experiencing from your choices of being dishonest?
I'm losing privileges.
Yeah, you're losing privileges. What else?
Trust, losing trustworthiness?
You're losing trust. Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
How do you feel about yourself? Do you like who you're becoming with these choices?
No.
So what do you want to do about it?
Change.
Okay, so what does that look like?
Not stealing or lying.
I think saying, okay, I'm not going to steal and I'm not going to lie, that's a good goal. But I think you've committed to that goal in the past, right?
Yeah.
Or have you not been committed to it? Have you just said it?
I tried.
You definitely tried. So let's go back and examine what hasn't been successful about trying in the past. What pieces are we missing? What can we do to support you in being honest and trustworthy? Because it seems to me, as your parent, you just don't think about it in the moment. Like you don't think about the consequences. You just think, this is what I want. I'm gonna do it. And you do it. Like there's not a lot of thought process there. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's going on for you in the moment?
No.
Okay, so what's going to help you think things through? Do you remember the story Dad talks about when he was little and Grandma Sherry would say to him, discernment, Jono, discernment.
He never told us that story.
He's told you that story. Dad also struggled with thinking things through as a kid. And here's the thing, your brain develops in stages. And the part of your brain that helps you think things through isn't going to be fully developed until you're in your mid to late 20s. So you got a long way to go, right?
Right.
But that's not an excuse to just behave however you want. So there's an aspect of this that comes with maturity and growth and experience, but you can definitely start now.
Okay.
So what's something that's going to help you remember in the moment to think, okay, I have a choice. I have multiple choices. Here's an example. Mom got us some healthy treats for when we finish our goals every day. And as long as we're responsible and do it on our own, I get a treat. And if I steal them, what's going to happen in the future? What's going to be the natural consequence of you taking them?
I don't get them anymore, and that privilege is going to be taken away.
What else?
Well, I lose your trust is broken.
What else? Did your stomach hurt yesterday?
Yeah, but I didn't have the treats when my stomach was hurting. That was before.
Well, you took the treats, and then half an hour later, you were on the phone with Dad, and you said, oh, my stomach hurts so bad, I'm not gonna eat dinner. It's true you were having some digestive issues before that, But I gave you some stuff and those digestive issues went away. Then you ate a bunch of sugar and then you chose not to eat dinner because your stomach hurt. Do you remember that part?
Yeah.
So even though they're healthy treats, if you eat a bunch of them on an empty stomach, are you going to feel sick?
Yeah.
So you're not going to have treats. Trust is going to be broken. You're going to hurt yourself. You're not going to feel good physically. So if you had stopped and thought through what you were doing in that moment, you would have said, okay, that's the consequence of me taking this. And then what's the consequence of not taking it?
I get snacks. I still have my trust and my stomach is good.
Yeah. So the consequence of not taking it is you'd still be able to earn a treat every single day by being responsible. You would have trust and you would feel okay physically. And frankly, how you feel physically correlates to how you feel emotionally.
Right.
So last night, you were a pretty grumpy Bryson, right? Yeah, that's not enjoyable for anyone. Okay, so I have a question for you. If in the moment you stopped and you thought, what are my choices? What's the outcome or the consequences of those choices? What choice do you think you would have made?
A good one?
Well, I don't want to put a judgment on good or bad because I think we attach judgment to a lot of things that don't really support us or don't really serve us. I want to take the judgment of good or bad out of it and just say, is this serving me? Is this supporting me? Bryson, please sit up because it's a little hard for me to hear what you're saying when your face is in the blanket. Okay, so if you had thought through the outcome of your choices, what choice do you think you would have made?
A trustworthy choice.
A trustworthy choice. So you're saying you wouldn't have taken this stuff if you had thought it through.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's going to help you think things through in the moment? There's a book that I think would be helpful for you to read. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. The author talks about his really hard life challenges and how he lived through World War II. He talks about how we're all in control of ourselves and our thoughts and how we respond regardless of what's going on around us.
Okay.
He says that in between stimulus and response, there's space. And in that space is your ability to choose. And your biggest challenge that I see is you don't have a lot of space between stimulus and response. You don't have a lot of space between, oh, I can take all these treats, and then taking them and eating them all. When I have you do meditation and breathing, all those things help you create space between your stimulus and your response, so you can think through the choice you want to make. Video games also have a negative impact. Anything with screens has a negative impact between your stimulus and your response.
Is that because of the blue screen?
It has to do with the blue light, yeah. So Bryson, what are you going to do in the moment to help you stop and think things through? What are you going to do in your life to create more space?
I don't know how I could stop. Do you have any ideas?
I do have ideas, but the best ideas are going to come from you. A lot of it is just creating habits like meditation and breathing and stopping and calming down anytime you're emotionally elevated. It's going to be a matter of creating the behavior habits in your life. And then the more you create the habits that actually support you, the more you'll do it in more emotional moments. So the first step is becoming aware. I think having this conversation has helped bring some awareness. Do you feel like you understand your behavior a little bit better?
Yes.
Do you feel like you're a little bit more clear about what you want out of life?
Yes.
Okay, so a couple of ideas. You know how you do goals with Dad every week? I think it could be helpful for you to set some goals around this. I think it would be helpful for you to write those goals down and then to put them on your wall or somewhere where you're going to see them multiple times a day. I think it would be helpful for you to read your goals out loud every morning and every night. Like you need reminders that are going to help you be the kind of person you want to be.
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, so you think writing down your goals around this would be a good idea?
Yeah.
So why don't you go get some food and then let's have a conversation after you've eaten about what your goals are. And then for your writing assignment today, you can write them down and put them on the wall.
How long should the goals take?
However long you choose to have them take. I love you, buddy. Are you feeling better?
Yeah.
Bryson, I know you're a good boy and you have a good heart. It's hard to see you make choices that hurt you. And the reason I have these conversations with you and I hold you accountable is because I love you.
I love you too.
Frankly, it would be a lot easier in the short term to just scream and yell at you and tell you to go to your room. It takes a lot more effort and a lot more concern on my part to have these conversations with you and to hold you accountable and help you see the bigger picture.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you.
What are you going to eat for breakfast?
It's just lunchtime now.
Whatever, go eat something. I love talking about our children stealing things. It is so fun.
And it's happened a bit. More than a bit.
Yes, a bit. She has got a wart.
Yeah, one child particular has a challenge with this.
So what is the goal in parenting based on agency and unconditional love?
The goal is to teach them self-discipline, to teach them that they have power in the choices they make and they have control over their life, right? And that is our personal power. But it's also to do so with unconditional love. Unconditional positive regard for who they are, right? Yeah. And so shame and guilt has no part in that conversation, but it's so challenging to have those conversations, especially over and over and over again without saying, what's wrong with you? Why do you keep doing this? I have taught you, I have been kind, I have been patient, and we are still having this conversation.
Why are you torturing me?
But here's one of the most challenging things, is differentiating our child's behavior from who we are, right? Yeah. And, you know, I've heard it said having children is like having your heart walk around outside of your body. And it's definitely something I relate to, right? And I think a lot of us do as parents. We care so much and we see them making choices that are hurting them. And then we get angry about it because we don't want our children to hurt themselves, right? Yeah. But we also get exhausted from their behavior and we're like, why can't you just behave? I don't need this, right? Like I'm trying to make sure I can pay all the bills and you guys are eating food and we have groceries. Like you have no idea the stress that is in my life and you keep doing this. You know, all of those things are a very natural human response. So what does it take to show up as a parent and model agency and unconditional love?
Oh, you're asking me. I was just enraptured by what you were saying.
Please do tell.
Do tell.
I do think it takes, you know, we talk about in our Closeness Through Conflict course, which you can take on our membership site, but one of the principles of that is to recognize your own body signs of like escalating emotion, like high emotionality, anger, frustration, and
fear.
Yeah. And,
even happiness, right?
Right. And to say, okay, am I going to get into a headspace where I'm not thinking clearly?
Right.
Where I'm going to say things that I regret. In the moment they feel good because I feel really justified in saying them. It's kind of like what you were talking about earlier, the things that you could say, what is wrong with you, and here's all I've given for you. Like I would feel justified, but would it actually be helpful? And so parenting, like agency-based, unconditional love-based parenting requires you to put the child first, which means that being in touch enough with your emotions, stopping and calming down, and then actually communicating, okay, I'm angry. Why am I angry? I feel disrespected. And there's nothing wrong with saying I feel disrespected to a child because it makes them aware of what their choices are bringing up in you. And it teaches them to do the same thing, like to be able to communicate those emotions.
The magical phrase in that sentence is I feel, not you make me feel, or you are, right?
Right.
Because this is how I feel, this is my experience. And when we can, and it creates vulnerability to communicate how we feel and what our experience is and what's going on for us, right? Yeah. And as a parent, I think unconsciously, subconsciously, we kind of have this view of like, well, I'm supposed to be superhuman and I'm supposed to not feel and I'm not supposed to react and so on and so forth. And I know I had that perspective for a long time as a parent. And then I realized that's ridiculous. Like I'm gonna be upset sometimes. Yeah. And it's a good thing to have like the end of a rope, right? It's a good thing to have boundaries. Like the goal isn't to just be like, everything is wonderful all the time.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool with the team.
Because that's disingenuous and that's not real, right?
Right.
We all have our edges. Know thyself, know where your edges are. And things that are triggering for me aren't triggering for you.
And vice versa.
Yeah, and things that are triggering for you aren't triggering for me, right?
Everything's not awesome.
Wait, what?
And as a parent, my goal is to always stay 2 steps away from my edge, or my ledge, or I'm gonna lose it. Because I'm a closer, and when I lose it, I get angry, and nobody wants that.
And I make the mistake sometimes of going right up to, when you say everyone has edges, the edge is when you tumble off of it, then you're in a space that you don't want to be. You're lashing out with temper, whatever. And I make the mistake sometimes of going right up to the edge because I want to give my kids every opportunity. But the problem with that is I give them every opportunity, they take me up to the edge, and then we go over it, and then I'm mad at them because I gave them every opportunity. And something that I'm learning from you is you don't have to give them every opportunity if it's going to bring you up to your edge. Far better to stay a few steps back and say, okay, and you see these throughout these true parenting videos. Alicia says, I think we should take a break now.
We were on a break!
Right? I think we should take a break now, and we should calm down, or we should get our head together. And part of that is for the kid, but I imagine part of it's for you when you're like, I've had
totally.
enough.
I am not a healer. I've had to develop my healer. It's been a painful process. My husband and my oldest daughter have taught me that. And my oldest daughter and my mother have the same personality type. And so that's not a trigger at all, not even a little bit. And so I have all sorts of tools that I spent literally decades developing so I could be okay and I could interact with that personality type in a healthy manner. And so letting it be okay that you're at where you're at. And if you need to take a break as a parent, take a break and communicate. I need to take a break. And sometimes we'll have quiet time. We don't call it time out. We have quiet time, and everybody participates in quiet time, even the teenagers, because everybody needs it, right? And when they're little, they think quiet time's for them. And I've made it very clear. No, quiet time is for me. And if you come and knock on my door, or you yell through my door, or you start yelling at me that someone's being mean to you, because they're all supposed to be, in their separate spaces, but somehow they still got in a fight. Quiet time restarts because I need my quiet time, right? And so give yourself the same unconditional love to what you're experiencing as a parent, because you are going to experience a lot of things. There's going to be times interacting with your kids, what they're doing is triggering your own wounds. Work through it, communicate that vulnerability in a way that's healthy, and then show up for them as the best version of you. And when you totally mess it up, apologize and take accountability.
It's not about being a superhuman perfect parent.
No.
Right?
And I think that's sometimes what we think.
Yeah. Well, and that's why the ledge analogy is so good, because it's just knowing yourself. It's just acknowledging, I'm not a perfect parent. I absolutely have a point where I will explode in anger. So knowing that that's the case, I'm going to stay far back away from that. And we're going to take a break.
I don't think I've ever been this angry.
What about the time I said we were on a break?
These are real life conversations that literally took place like exactly the way you're hearing them. I can only handle so many of these conversations a day. It's exhausting, right? And my dominant personality type is an introverted personality type. I have my children, I run a business, I have employees. I have to be careful how much time I'm spending interacting with other people, because even those other people are my children, it still exhausts me. And so sometimes I get maybe 2 of these conversations in a day, and my kids are like really on one, and like they're shooting for like 5 or 6. And I'm like, I do not have it in me to be productive in that many tense situations in a day. And that's when we, reset or have quiet time, or, everybody gets to read books in their room for the rest of the day, because I don't want to lose it. Whatever that looks like for you, it's okay. Whatever the goal is, just take one step forward to where you want to be. Don't expect yourself to be that person all the time. As you use that muscle, it's going to grow. You're going to get better at it. But just don't put too many expectations on yourself.
Well, and just like building a muscle, you got to rest it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's where
sometimes
I'm
like the parenting muscle is just like, we're going to take a break.
Yeah. Or go outside and don't come back inside till 5 o'clock, right?
Works for parents and for children. So if you found this video helpful, we want to invite you to check out what to do when your child lies, cheats, and steals. That'll be the video that pops up at the end. If you need support in your relationships, go to mendedlight.com, schedule a complimentary 15-minute consultation with a member of our team, or check out our low-cost membership site where we teach you these skills and you can go at your own pace.
And remember to keep shining. We need your light.